Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at Orconomics, which is like economics, but with orcs. Get it? I guess. People love fantasy, but this is, I want to be clear, this is not a fantasy game. This is an economic game with the word orc in the title. And the only thing about this game that I can see other than the artwork, which isn't bad, it's, fun artwork, but it is that orcs never pay their debts back when they take a loan out. They'll pay interest, but they won't ever pay the loan back. That's it. I suppose maybe the cards and the names of stuff matter, but they got banking and food processing and innovations and tourism. You could take the orc out of Orconomics and it would be pretty much the same thing. But what is it? This is a 2 to 5 player game, which is a game in which you're going to get money, and which is skulls in this game. I guess that's another thing of orcs. And try to get businesses started, getting startups going. Here's how it plays. In Orconomics, the first person to get a certain number of victory points is the winner. And that's going to be 11 or 12 based on the number of players. There are different companies. You'll start with a couple on the board at the beginning of the game. And if you get all your each company on the board is worth a point. Players only have 10 companies. So the other way to get points is to complete quests like this. Here, for example, is the quest of there. Place your last available company token. So if you, on your turn, you can take that. Jump over a startup to create a company. Have 3 startups on the same border. Quest of greed. So when it's your turn, you can take one of those as a free action. When it's your turn, you're called the Oracle, and you're going to follow a certain process. The first thing an Oracle will do is if you have any debts. So when you take a debt, you'll turn one of these tokens over. Orcs never pay their debts off, so you'll never get that back, but you need to pay a silver skull for each debt you have. This game comes with some currency, and it's kind of a weird currency because you have these silver skulls and gold skulls. Gold ones are the only ones you can bid with, and a gold is 4 silvers, so you're trying to get enough silvers to get gold. On your turn, you'll roll these dice, and you'll activate whatever one. You'll see that there's 2 through 12 here, where the 2 and 12 are the same, around the board. I rolled a 4. So this one and the 2 adjacent to it are going to activate. Players are going to get profits or losses based on this. So this one says +2. So blue and yellow are going to get 2 silver skulls. Green and purple are going to get 1. Anybody who's here would take -2. This is this is kind of a crisis token, and this will move around the board. This will move if anyone ever rolls the same number twice. So if you roll 4, that's the active sector we're working on. If a 4 happens again, then the crisis token moves, people get to draw cards, and so on and so forth. So the Oracle is going to roll the dice. Stuff is going to happen. The profits and losses are going to go there. Then, if this area is not full, you then have an auction. And the auction is basically people bidding gold skulls only. Going around a table, you can bid higher than the last person or pass, and whoever wins the bid is going to put a new company there. Then the Oracle, the person whose turn it is, can play cards from their hand. Everyone's going to start with some cards, and there are different cards in the game that match the numbers on the board. You can only play a card if you have a company there. So if I'm the Oracle, I can't play this 2 or 12 card because I don't have a company in that spot. I could play the 6 if I'm the green player. At the end of my turn, draw 2 extra cards. So that's one thing you do with a card. Another thing you do with a card is you can play that card and you can put a startup company out on one of these 3 adjacent spots next to it. So that company here, I'm putting it between the 2 and the 12 and the 5. And in case I wasn't clear, this board is randomized. These numbers aren't necessarily next to each other. But when you put a startup, you put it closest to the middle. So the next person to put a startup will go there. But every time a number is rolled, those startups will move, and they can eventually move in and become companies. So that's one thing that you're trying to do, is put out these startups and companies. After that, the Oracle will then draw a new card. You can pay a gold skull to draw an extra card, and then it goes to the next person. And you just keep going around and around until someone wins. Again, getting companies, not startups, on the board, and quests combined to get 11 or 12 points. Orconomics is a fine, okay game. I'll tell you my rating right up front, it's a 6 out of 10. It's fine. I don't, it plays 5 well. So there's that. That's a positive thing. Like 5 doesn't really take much longer. But it just has weird terminology and weird things. Like turning 4 silvers into a gold is just not something people are used to doing. Our currency, most currencies in the world, 5 becomes the next coin. There are some games that have 3s as the next coin. 4 is a weird number, and you're going to find that people are going to have to kind of wrap their heads around that. And then there's just some weird things about when you pay silver skulls for this, but you need to get 4 silver skulls to get a gold skull, and only gold skulls are used in auctions. And I'm assuming that's just to keep auctions from being forever and a day. Like I'll bid a gold and 2 silvers, and I'll bid a gold and 3 silvers. I get that, but it makes auctions faster at the cost of kind of neutering how interesting they are. I don't know what to tell you here. The startups, everything is just not that interesting. There's the die rolling, which is a bit from Catan, Machikoro games like that. Hey, this activates and the ones next to it activate. But it doesn't get rolled enough in a game. The game's going to go around, I don't know, 5-6 times, so maybe 30 dice are rolled. Your number may never be rolled. The weird embargo rules, when the same thing's rolled twice, moves that crisis token, so now you're losing points, which might get you one of these cards, actually. It's just that this game, for me, when I'm done, just left me feeling a little meh. You get the points by getting your companies out there. You grab these cards. But there's nothing really like woohoo about it. And I like economic games. I like the buy low, sell high. But here, it's not. I guess, at the beginning, it's an economic game, but it's really not. You're not making economic decisions. You're putting a company out. And the company, usually the bidding on the company is whatever number happened to be rolled. So you're not making the choice. You're just deciding whether to bid or not. And you usually want to bid because the game's not going to take that long. So you want to get your companies on the board as fast as possible. Playing the cards put startups out. That's some interesting thoughts. And playing the cards will allow you to do various things. But nothing ever feels like you're making really deep, crunchy choices. On the other side, it also doesn't feel like a light woohoo style game. So I'm not sure who this is for. I mean, is it to trick people who like fantasy games into accidentally playing a more Euro style auction game? Maybe. Someone brought the game and they're like, well, Ares makes good games like Sword and Sorcery and things like that. Let's make this Orcs too, just so it fits in the line. Maybe. But is it a game that I want to play again? Probably not. I want to be careful I didn't dislike it. It's fine, but there's a lot of fine games out there, so I don't know about this one. That's Orconomics. I'm Tom Vasel, and you're watching The Dice Tower.